Zillow, they have a very nuanced approach here. It's not like it's not going on Zillow. It's like, if it's on the MLS, we'll take it, right? They are almost putting all the onus upon the rules. They're going to get the data from the MLS, right? So
well, I mean,
if those brokerages and those franchisors satisfy the MLS rules, they're going to take it. If they don't, they don't, right?
That's some delusional fucking shit you just.
No, it's not delusional. I mean, it's just their foreign
delusional.
policy.
Hey, can you guys fight on your own pod? Like,
no, it's literally not what Zillow said, but whatever. Okay, let's continue.
Well,
what does the king do?
Do you believe?
What does the king do?
There you go.
This is Industry Relations, a podcast at the intersection of real estate and technology from an insider's perspective. Sponsored by Cotality. Stay tuned to learn more with Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson.
All right, Rob, Greg, welcome to the show.
yeah.
Keith is
What up,
laughing because Greg has got some Post-it notes up there. Follow the ML. What did I say there, Greg?
These were mock-ups of. We did a picket outside of NAR's MLS committee meeting. These are the examples of the signs we used as we marched in front of it. So it was put it on the MLS, save the MLS.
You went full Norma Ray. You were picketing.
Totally, yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
I didn't have Greg going Norma Ray on my bingo card for 2025.
It was kind of a publicity stunt for Tuesday, that app that I've invested in.
It was everywhere. I saw it. It went viral, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, smart move, by the way. So you don't have any opinions about that, which we'll probably talk about today. So viewers and listeners, our friends Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson run the Industry Relations podcast.
Great pod. You should listen.
You should listen to. We will put their link in the show notes. Go click and subscribe. We did a show last year together in person at Inman, which was
awesome.
Blast.
Yeah. We got to do that again.
Was
that a year ago?
Damn, it's just been over a year now, actually. Yeah. So that was a fun one, but we thought,
what if we did an event, just the four of us, like, podcast live and then invite people? Anyway, all right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
there's
in.
There's a thing there. There's a thing there.
Yeah.
So we thought we would get together since we all agree that there is very slow news these days and nothing for us to address, but we are four of the most opinionated people in residential real estate.
That's accurate.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
So we're obviously going to talk about Compass acquiring Anywhere, or the plan to acquire Anywhere. And we wanted to invite Greg and Rob on to give their perspective, but we're going to add a twist so everybody knows. We're going to focus this pod a little differently than the stuff you're seeing in the news headlines. We're first going to get their take on it, of course, but the plan then is to talk about how the portals respond. We're going to go deep into Zillow, Rocket, Homes, and Realtor, which would be an interesting discussion. I know my friend Rob here wrote a great article on his thoughts.
It was good.
So it was a very good article.
Thorough.
So guys, let's quit tap dancing here.
Let's go.
Let's start. So Rob, I'm going to go with you to begin with, and then Greg to add some sense of common sense to it, so we're not going too far off the deep end.
So this is like a normal podcast. Okay.
And by common sense, he means all the wrong.
Yeah. Right. Like I said, everybody, you're going to enjoy this pod. So, all right, Rob, give us your take. Just your kind of high level 10,000 foot view, what this means, what it is, surprise to you or not, where it goes. Go down that rabbit hole.
Sure. I mean, the surprise, I think, and as I did in our podcast episode in the article, is that Compass managed to pull off acquiring like the king, the flag bearer, right? I figured they're going to acquire somebody. I didn't think they're going to acquire Anywhere.
Am I allowed to interrupt yet?
No.
Interrupt away, man. It's conversation.
Go ahead.
Let him go.
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, I think that was a huge move, right? 10,000 foot, we're going to get into all the little details, but fundamentally, I think what this means is that residential real estate, unless something dramatic happens, right, is going to look like commercial real estate.
Go deeper there. So just everybody's
basically dominated by a few very large firms at the tier one level. Like commercial real estate, for those who aren't familiar, is pretty much dominated by three companies: CBRE, JLL, and Cushman & Wakefield. And then there are some tier two players, and then a bunch of like boutiques and others, right? And Those three probably control, I don't know what market share they have, but it's a little different, commercial and residential. But basically, if you want to do big deals in big center city business districts, and you're not with one of those three, good luck to you. It's basically that, right? So I figure residential real estate is going to look like that, dominated by a few large firms, probably a portal or a couple of portals, just like commercial has LoopNet, which is where the sort of stale bread gets sold. And then everything else, I mean, it's going to look like commercial real estate. It's long-term, 10,000, 30,000 foot up, unless something dramatic changes. How long?
Yeah, what's your
This is where Keith always gets on my case. He's like, you might be directionally correct, but your timing is way off.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be like 5 years, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, jump in here.
Yeah, I mean, he had a little bit of the right analogy, but the wrong thing. He's talking about the king. Who's the king, right? I mean, the king is Zillow. Okay, that's the king of this whole thing, right? And the reason they're the king is because they have the consumers, right? And if you come to the king, you best not miss.
Facts.
Right? So
Yep.
I don't think any of this stuff, I mean, anywhere. So they got, 200,000 independent contractors. Big whoop in a sense to me, right? I mean, getting those guys to do anything directionally that you want them to do, I think Keith and anybody else who's in this business space knows that's almost impossible. I'm still shocked. Before I left Lone Wolf with Cloud CMA, I would go to our dashboard. You know how many Compass agents made Cloud CMAs? A shit ton. You know how many Redfin agents made Cloud CMAs? A shit ton. Even though they got better tools, they got all those things. They tell them to do this way. They're going to do whatever they want, right? So it is going to be, I mean, and then the other thing is like, just to get things started here, I remember when I saw a company, and this might be the same for you, James and Keith, when they got acquired, I was like, thank God, because these guys are going to be so mirrored in crap for the next year or 2 years to get through all these machinations that they're never going to be able to do anything innovative. Now, maybe Robert surprises us, but he's got to first get his crap together to do that with, now he's got debt and everything else, to make these agents do what he wants to do. So I'm still optimistic that, that the portals are going to be fine here. I mean, the MLSs are going to be fine. It's just going to be very hard this is just the inertia that this industry has and the unwillingness to change this industry has is going to be very hard to, in a way that is structured with independent contractors. It's going to be very, 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 very tough to make any significant changes in this space as I see it. So 5 years, I think 5 years, sure, there might be some bigger companies. There might be some more upstarts that come in, but relatively about the same, I think.
Interesting. Keith, you want to jump?
Well, first of all, I see so many people, and Rob just did it, and I love you, Rob. And my therapist taught me that you don't say "but" it negates everything that you said prior to that. Look,
yeah, Sonny's trying to get me to do that.
Yeah, I know you won't, but I'm an involved man, Rob. I'm involved. Look, Compass buying anywhere is a big deal. It is, and I've given kudos and props to Refkin and his team for doing it. But for you to call anywhere the king is. Show me somewhere where you've written in the previous 2 years prior to the announcement where you referred to anywhere as the king. Like, no one thinks we've made fun of the debt. Yes, they do a lot of transactions. Wall Street doesn't like them. They're saddled with debt.
Fine. Let me pause for you here. If you're going to take issue with the term king, like I said, the term I've always used there, the flag bearer.
Well, I think it's a big deal. Yes. But most of us in the industry haven't been stumping for anywhere is this sort of crown jewel of residential real estate. We just haven't. No one has. And so now, because Compass bought them, for the revisionist history to be Compass just bought the crown jewel of residential real estate just feels off to me. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Yeah, I wrote it on September 9th before any of this was announced. Basically, my position then, as it has been for at least 10 years, is as goes anywhere, goes the rest of the brokerage industry.
He used to work for Anywhere. Keith,
and I used to work for Anywhere. Yeah. So, look, I mean, there's some bias there.
A little bias. Okay. But I'm just saying most of the industry, like people coming out, I think I feel like people are saying 1 + 1 = 11 versus 1 + 1 maybe equals 3.
Well, let's rephrase it then. If the acquisition goes through, are they the king of the industry? To Rob's point, that's that company and what it is in its new entity.
You're asking me that?
Anyone?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Are they the king then? No, maybe. Depends. Like, it's risky, right?
Well, what are you talking about? Volume, transactions? There's so many ways of defining what is what are you looking at? Because I can see Leo and I can see Gary. They all like, oh, we're the number one of this, or Real, or whoever.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be.
We have the most productive agents, as far as that's what Redfin used to say. So it's like it's like the realtor that says, I'm number one between Main Street and Apple Street.
Yeah,
I'm the smartest. I'm the number one producer in this section,
in this neighborhood. Right? I'm the smartest guy in my house if no one's home.
Okay, so
right?
let me. Let's just look at numbers, right? The new Compass, and I wrote this in my first initial reaction, right? The new Compass would have 959.2 billion in sales volume, and 1.449 million transaction sides. The second place would be EXP, which is, let's see. Dramatically lower.
Sure, a lot lower.
I mean, so just
look,
from a
is
number
it I'm not saying it's not a big deal.
What about the growth? What is the growth EXP has had versus Compass's growth? Right. I mean,
so how is EXP? Oh, fine. No, EXP is growing fast. So you're gonna have to tell me the way in which EXP gets to 1.5 million transaction sides.
To your point, acquisition.
Well, I think this is what we all agree on.
Correct.
Is that this
acquisition, or they screw up in execution? Maybe Compass totally screws this up and people flee.
Sure.
Fine.
Yeah.
But breakage or acquisition, to your point, Greg, is how companies get there. Yeah. And I think, Rob, your point is if you don't have enough size, then it's hard to compete.
So EXP, as an example, right, this is all using 2024 data. So maybe it's a little different. But let's face it, it's not double, right?
Sure.
In 2024, EXP had 152 billion in sales volume and 350,000 transaction sides. Gigantic, enormous, huge. I get it. The new Compass is what, 5 times that? So, like, yeah, you can grow. I get it. Growing to 5x your current, you got to show me the path.
But again, look at this. Why does EXP and Real exist? And maybe, what is it, LPT or whatever? Because Keller Williams screwed up. These are all basically the same models, right?
Yeah.
But they got their eye off the ball, and all those agents that come over from those guys are usually ex-KW agents, right?
Sure.
The teams and everything else, right? So
Sure.
don't think that a bad execution of something the breakage on this thing could be huge, James. I mean,
could be.
I think.
Well, maybe this is a sentence we can all agree on. I think that the Compass acquisition of Anywhere is a big deal. It is news. And if they pull it off, right? And that's a big if to Greg's point, right? Yeah. And maybe we should go into like why they may or why they may not pull it off, right? But if they pull it off, it is a structural change for residential real estate. I would agree with that statement.
I agree.
Yeah.
But does this anything matters what we're talking about now of like how the portals will respond to this, right? I mean, this is just this is inside baseball stuff, right?
Right.
I mean,
and that's the most important.
How is that going to happen?
That's the most important question, which is, like you said, in your view, Zillow's the king.
Yeah.
Zillow's the big daddy who just came in and took his belt off. All right, cool.
Yes.
How does Zillow respond?
Well, I mean, but Zillow's stance is pretty nuanced, right? Zillow's saying
the Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered podcast is not condoning Rob's being.
What are you talking? Like Greg was going to mention that when Zillow did Z-Last, he said, "Daddy's
the analogy
home."
Is
he painted
everybody else in the industry was just screwing around. Dad was in the other room. He's hearing all this bickering get up, and then finally he got fed up. He got out of his chair and he went in there like, "You go to your room, you go to your room, and you go to room." That's Zillow responding to all this nonsense about CCP, right? So, but. If you think about it, I think Zillow, they have a very nuanced approach here. It's not like it's not going on Zillow. It's like, if it's on the MLS, we'll take it, right? They are almost putting all the onus upon the rules. They're going to get the data from the MLS, right? So,
well, I mean,
if those brokerages and those franchisors satisfy the MLS rules, they're going to take it. If they don't, they don't, right?
That's some delusional fucking shit you just.
No, it's not delusional. I mean, it's just their phone
delusional.
policy.
Hey, can you guys fight on your own pod?
Like, no, it's literally not what Zillow said. But whatever. Okay, let's continue.
Well,
what does the king do?
Do you believe?
What does the king do?
There you go. So, do you believe that in this? I really am not going to say the word king, but do you believe that Compass is going to push the private listings program that he's been doing there across the entire.
He's
new
got so
Compass
much
brand.
other things to do now, James. He's got several businesses to merge, everything else. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I love it when competitors got acquired or they acquired something. He's going to be so mired in little 90 shit to kind of go back. Okay, while we're all figuring out comp and how do we do this, I want you to do this for me. I want you to use this I mean, it's ridiculous. This guy's he's going to be so burdened by a lot of this shit that he's not going to get any sort of consensus with these independent
Short term.
contractors.
You think long term, maybe?
Okay, what's long term? By that time, we might have a different model going on, right?
Well,
I mean, it's like
now
it might be a buyer's market then, and like the whole freaking listing strategy of having exclusive listings might not make any sense.
Greg, you're really reaching for straws, man. Come on.
This is straight facts, man.
So hold on a second.
I
Zillow bought
handle
Trulia.
it, okay, but
Zillow bought Trulia.
Truth
And
serum right into you.
Zillow bought Trulia. Did you see Zillow just tank afterwards? Come on.
We're not talking about the same thing.
No, big companies know
we're
how
not
to do
talking managing
mergers.
200,000, independent contractors just to do what you say. That's not truly a Zillow. That doesn't make any sense.
So
It's
let's agree that there's going to be a lot. And Keith and I said this. I think we agree on this. There's going to be a lot of time to figure this out. Meaning they've got to get all this stuff together, and it's going to take years. First of all, the deal isn't even closed till the end of
Until next year, yeah.
Well,
But-
let me ask Greg a question
Q2.
to his point. Do you believe that the private listing network, whatever you want to call it, is part of the reason in the long-term plan for the acquisition of Anywhere?
Do I think Robert thinks that he's going to
Yeah.
get leverage somehow? Yeah, I think he thinks that.
Yeah,
I
I believe that.
I think it's
too.
bullshit. I think
It
it's
is
bullshit.
Sure, fine. You can agree or disagree, but I think part of the reason they did it is to get more scale with private listing network.
Let me interject something real quick. This is important. Keith, why do you think the Anywhere board agreed to the merger?
They got rid of the debt, man. They had
What-
that for fucking 20 years. Schneider should get a freaking medal.
What Greg said.
You think it was just the financial, it's just the debt?
Well, yeah. I mean, no, nothing's ever that simple, right? But if you want an off ramp or a way to hedge, right? It's a pretty good hedge for Anywhere. Right?
It's really not though, because they're ending up taking on stock. They're not getting any cash.
No, for sure. Right.
So the reason why I bring this up is because everyone's like, Robert, I'm like, okay, but the board at Anywhere said, yes, let's accept this offer.
Well, what other offer were they going to get? What other offer were they going to get?
If I may, sir.
Yeah.
My point is that Ryan Schneider, the CEO of Anywhere, has been saying from the very beginning of this whole thing, hey, man, we don't want to do private listings. But if you want to play that game, we are ready. We're locked in. We have all the technology, we have everything processed. And if we embrace private listings, Anywhere would be the biggest beneficiaries.
Yeah.
That is
So as I wrote, I think the board sat there like, we got this offer. They're like, so Ryan, you've been telling us for 4 years, if we did private listings, we would be the biggest beneficiaries. Yes, sir. Why aren't we doing that? And I think that was a huge, in other words, it's not just Robert thinking we're going to expand private listings. I'm saying it's the board of Anywhere saying, why aren't we doing private listings?
Well, I would. So I guess we'd have to force rank the why. Do I think that's on the list of why? Yes, I do. I just said that, right?
Right.
I think both sides are feeling that way.
Right.
But I think the debt is the bigger reason. That's all I'm saying.
Possibly. Yeah. Possibly.
I mean,
But
they've
no,
got,
I think
Compass has got a higher valuation, so Anywhere finally gets itself out from. They've cut. This is why Keith and I said the statement, and we're not shy about it. We think it is unreal. We said basically it seems far fetched that 225 million in OpEx savings is a reality when they've spent
No way.
8 years trying to cut overhead as it is. Both companies have cut everything to the bone to try and create profitability. And we're like, I want to bring this back because Greg's comment I think is very relevant. You take that, which I think is a very far-fetched number, but maybe we're off and we'll find out. But to your point, Greg, if there's a certain amount of breakage there, there's some number in there where the math doesn't math. And like there is a risk in that. And
that could take a handful of teams, really, James, right? I mean, this business better than anybody. I mean, you got some multi-million-dollar producer things that you decide to switch.
Potentially.
That's how Keller Williams got fleeced, man.
But I
those
agree
big teams just went.
But I agree with Keith, and he made this comment as well. He's like, people talk a lot, but put your money where your mouth is, and most of the time the industry never steps up. So, like, not to rag on the industry, but everyone talks a good game but doesn't follow through.
Right.
Well, I think the original question was, what does Zillow do? I don't know.
We're going to get there. I was
Okay.
just about to
All
get
right.
there. So
Yeah.
we're basically the one thing I will say on that subject, 'cause I didn't add my 2 cents. I think Robert wants influence over MLSs and associations is why he did it. I think the private listings piece is part of it, but I think that the size of the network causes I shouldn't say that. Keith would teach me not to say that. Most people in MLS roles and association roles will give in when a significant portion of their membership is represented by one company. And I think that does give, just think about it, Greg.
You think MLSs behave that way, James? Really?
Do I really? Or is that a serious question? That they actually?
You think that like
100%.
the biggest? No, I mean, look at
100%.
that. That's everybody bitches about. Like the big brokers are mad at MLSs because
Greg,
they're the big brokers and the little ones
telling you
control.
this, like I'm telling you this because I know a lot of the MLS executives that if 40%
And I don't?
of their,
I agree with him.
I think when the number is big enough, there's a lot of conversations going on amongst the board about what they want to do and not do, because at the end of the day, membership is a driver of it. But my point is less MLSs though. I think associations are a bigger conversation. I think that influence on association causes the enforcement of CCP to be dropped or ignored based upon potential loss of membership. I personally think that's part of his strategy.
100%.
I have no knowledge of it. I'm just telling you, like, from if you want to influence association MLSs, then the size of your organization does matter. All right. So Rob, let's go here. Let's talk about what no one has really discussed. And you wrote a fantastic piece, and I do, if you're open to it, I don't know if there's a way to do it, people to see it somehow. I know it's usually a paid thing, but I think if you had people the ability to read it, I think it's a really good read, very thorough. Let's start with Zillow, because Greg mentioned this, they're the king. And they certainly have flexed in a way we've never seen.
See what you did? Flex.
I get it. Wow.
It's a comedy show. It's a regular comedy show.
I just noticed.
But
talk to us about your take on what Zillow does here, because they're obviously, everybody knows Compass is suing Zillow. Zillow has a ban on private listings that are marketed publicly if it's not on the MLS.
Well, and even more importantly, look, if we all did agree, I think that private listings is on the list of reasons why this acquisition happened or this proposed acquisition happened. So that it's an existential threat for Zillow, right? I mean, or a meaningful threat. Maybe not existential. That's a little bit hyperbolic,
it's pretty close.
But it's meaningful either way, right? So like that matters. So with that as the context, what do you see Zillow doing?
I mean, I've already written my piece.
Not everybody's read it. So
all right,
give us the speed round.
I'll give you the real quick. There are like 5 options. Okay, 1, they ramp up the rhetoric, right? You're a terrible human being if you do private listings. Okay, that hasn't worked, but that's one. Second one is I think they do maybe much more of reward our friends and punish our enemies, meaning things like maybe you go to EXP and start offering them, discounted sweetheart deals, while you do the opposite of sweetheart deals for Compass. And by every time I say Compass here forward, assume it includes anywhere. Yeah, right. So
Compass 2.0.
Yeah. Correct.
Yep.
I could see them doing something like that, but neither of those I don't think makes that huge a difference. So now we get to the more extreme stuff. I think there are 2. One is what I've called the total conventional war. And this is where they just essentially go to a Compass agent, and say, you have 60 days to get out of Compass. Otherwise, we're going to we're not going to do business with you. You can't be a premier agent. We're not going to send you leads. We're not going to show you listings. Something dramatic like that, I think, is a possibility. Mm-hmm. I have, since I wrote that, talked to more people, and I don't think that's real likely. The 4th option, which I think is the most likely actually at this point, is completely controversial. It's what I call the nuclear war option, where they just say, you know what, enough of this nonsense. We're just going to enter the industry in a real way. And they either become a full-blown brokerage. I know they're a paper brokerage today, but we all know it's just to get IDX feeds, right?
Yep.
Where they go, we're going to recruit agents, right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's less I think the real option is they say, fine, we're just going to become a franchise.
Right. So that's number 5. It's franchise.
That's 4. The 5th one is some sort of government action. Some sort of lobbying, something maybe with the licensing authorities or with the feds, some sort of government lobbying to make private listings, essentially illegal. Those are the 5 options that I've come up with.
Isn't there a ruling this week for Zillow and one of the lawsuits in regard to this?
Which one? I lost count of them all.
Yeah.
Oh, God, is it the one about the Compass, about the listings on
the private listings?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Yeah,
it was
I don't know.
whether wasn't it based on the injunction? I think wasn't that the upcoming ruling, Rob? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
Well,
probably.
we're in the
I think
week
it
of
was
the
a
September
preliminary injunction
29th
ruling.
now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
I think it's the
Grant,
ruling
so
on the
helpful.
injunction, Greg, is what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
be
So,
wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
but
that's what
okay,
it
but
was.
let's
Can
look
I
at
ask
that
Rob a
real quick.
question? Can I ask Rob a question? Okay, go ahead.
Hold
Go
on,
ahead,
hold on,
Greg.
real quick.
Yep.
If it's a ruling on the injunction of like them throwing it out, right, and they do throw it out, is that a
Not
signal?
throwing it out, just the injunction on stopping the ban.
Oh,
is what
okay,
it was
but
based
still,
on.
even that's like a signal, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they say no, they're gonna. Or what would be the positive of that?
They would basically not. They would not put the injunction in place that Compass is asking for.
Correct. Yeah. Isn't that a signal to say, no, maybe not right here?
Sure.
Either way, right? So
It's going to give you an idea where the court's moving, at least.
Right.
So,
Rob,
yeah.
I've got a question on your 5. So why do you think it's more likely that they would own their own brokerage or start a franchise versus, say, you got 60 days? Like, to me, starting my own franchise development sounds way harder.
So my take on it is if they really went that kind of the conventional total war option, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to Compass agents, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, all these agents say, okay, hey, you know what? You're with the enemy. And if you're with them, you can't do business with us,
Mm-hmm.
right? It exposes them to some real problems, right? And one of the ones I pointed out was they might lose access to IDX, as an example, because IDX does not allow discrimination based on what brokerage you're from.
But that's also going to be. That's one of the main things that's going to be decided in the Compass Zillow lawsuit, by the way, that definition of what you can exclude or not, to your point.
Possibly, right. So there's some of those types of risks. I think you do end up getting some sort of backlash from the agent community. Like you're forcing me to choose between my broker and you, like, screw you. Like,
You don't think they're going to get backlash if they open their own brokerage?
I think far less.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
No, not a brokerage, a franchise.
I still don't agree. I mean, I think the industry. I think they get a lot of noise either way. First of all, let me just state that. But I think the noise is louder because they've spent their entire existence saying, "I don't want to get into real estate. We don't want to get into real estate."
But they've backed in that. They said they weren't going to
They
be a broker.
are
They
in
became
real
a broker.
estate.
Yeah, it's like nobody.
No, they're
believes that
not
shit.
though. Like, yeah, sure, they're a broker. I mean, Rob just said they're a broker on paper, but it's just so they get IDX fees and get referral fees. This
Keith,
is if you guys are going to actually say into a microphone that that's not a big step, I think that's crazy.
Keith, I'm agreeing, but my point is the reason why I think that's the more likely today, and I could be totally wrong, and Zillow could call you guys tomorrow and be like, "Rob smoking crack. We have no intention." That's totally fine. I'm just saying, if I'm Zillow,
if you want to come on the pod and say that, we'd love that as a quote.
I would
Continue.
love that.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Cotality. CoreLogic is now Cotality. Same trusted technology and data, just with a new name that reflects their mission to unify property professionals, strengthen industry relationships, and drive innovation globally. Cotality powers tools you already know and love, like Matrix, the gold standard for MLS systems. There's One Home for agents who want to give their clients a more personalized collaboration experience. MLS Touch keeps you connected to the MLS no matter where you are. Realist gives you the insights to stand out as the local expert and tools to fill your funnel with high-value leads. The new One Homeowner platform keeps you top of mind and delivers value long after the deal is done. Learn more at Cotality.com. Our thanks to Cotality for sponsoring Industry Relations.
What I'm looking at is, okay, but there's a risk. What's the reward? If I do you have to leave Compass or else, what's my reward? My reward is a bunch of agents flee Coldwell Banker and Century 20 and Compass and go to EXP and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus if I'm say, you know what, screw all this, I'm just going to start a franchise. My reward is I could end up being the largest real estate franchise overnight, right?
I'm going to go the other way with you on this. I agree with you in principle on them getting into the industry more, but I'm going to play this out differently.
Of course.
So considering Keith and I run a franchise, it's not a very profitable business.
It's more profitable than brokerage.
Well, no,
Depends on the
actually,
brokerage.
It depends on the brokerage. And I'll tell you, this is the way I think it would go. I'm agreeing with you and disagreeing with you on the rollout. I think if they went that route, which I've actually said publicly for like a year and people think I'm crazy, but I was like, if they become a brokerage, what I think they do is they go to all the teams and agents that are already getting a ton of business from them. They do what you said, which is you've got 60 days to move your license, and they become the brokerage, charging the same referral fees of 40%, which, by the way, is better split than any brokerage in America.
True.
And if they go the franchise, let's just say they were franchise and they were to use Anywhere's fees, that's 6% GCI versus 40%. So the brokerage model of you just need to come here to get leads or we're going to basically shut you down. You become a Zillow agent. I don't think, this is just my opinion, I know a lot of these people, and Keith and I have interviewed a lot of them recently. I think when you talk to a team that's getting 30% of their business from Zillow and they were told to leave another brokerage, doesn't matter what that brokerage is, they're go bye-bye. I'm not going to shut off that 30%. No freaking way.
Or no, some will, but they were frustrated with Zillow for some reason anyway, and that'll be the stated reason.
Yeah,
right. But they were,
that's the path. I think franchising is harder because they're not going to get as much revenue, and it just adds a layer of complexity they're not used to. They're already basically having lead flow happening through their own technology platforms like Follow Up Boss, etc. All they're doing is essentially swapping licenses and then setting up the infrastructure, which Keith and I know a little bit about this per state. They have to do a BIC in certain states, broker in charge. People understand what I meant. Like there's some rules by state, but that would make a stronger stance. And then to your point where I agree with you, Rob, they become the biggest real estate, I'm going to say company overnight.
Sure.
And by the way, with that kind of traffic, like whatever the 2 billion people, you couldn't add up the whole industry, couldn't even touch them on traffic. That is a hard proposition to say no to as an agent. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm agreeing with Keith. And again, maybe you're right. Like, I'm not ruling out the brokerage.
Sure.
I was just looking at like the margins. So take Anywhere, right? The brokerage division, like their net EBITDA is like this. It's the franchise that generates all the EBITDA. So I thought, if I'm Zillow, I do the franchise thing. And by the way, maybe I charge a 40% referral as a franchise. I figure out how to do that. Some nonsense, but it could be brokerage. It could be both. Anywhere is both. I mean, if Zillow went out tomorrow and said, hey, we're going to acquire Remax and EXP, would anyone actually be surprised? I don't think so. And Zillow could buy those two for cash.
Sure. No, look,
they are
Zillow,
the most well-capitalized company.
They got $1.5 billion in the bank. They can do whatever strategy they decide. It'll be well-funded.
That, right?
Yeah, it'll be well-funded, sure.
My point simply was, I think if they go down that road, yes, there's going to be pushback. There's going to be anger. But no matter what they do, they're going to have that.
No, for sure.
Right.
So, but at least if they go you got to leave to get my leads route,
right,
they can tell the industry, whether it's true or not, they can tell the industry, see, we could have done that. We could have done what Rob Hahn said, but we didn't want to because we don't want to do that. Right. I just feel like well, let me finish. How is Wall Street going to react when Zillow, a tech company, says, I've found our solution? It's to become a real estate company.
Isn't that what Compass just did?
Right? And look what happened. Compass stock went down and Anywhere spiked, right? Like Wall Street will shit the bed. And look, if you've got deep enough pockets, and they could weather that storm. I just mean like they will have pressures from outside the industry. It will dramatically impact their stock price, in my opinion.
But they may be forced into it anyway, though. That's
if I could just stay being a tech company, I stick to my knitting. I do what I'm great at. We got the eyeballs. That's our value prop. It's a huge distraction for us to start a franchise or start a brokerage or some combination of both of those.
But it's all in the messaging too, right? If I'm on the PR team,
not as far as Wall Street's concerned.
Well, no, it is, right? Because let's just put it this way. There was this narrative: we're a tech company, they're a traditional real estate brokerage. And I'm going to say to Wall Street, you guys are thinking about this all wrong. Compensation has gone away, right? The internet is this and this and that, right? This is a new category here. This is just real estate. Who's going to get that? Don't classify me as this. Don't classify me. Going forward, the way things are done with interest rates and everything in housing, it's a brand new category.
So let me ask the
leader in that next generation real estate company. That's who we are.
So
right?
if Zillow does this, you think their share price goes up? What do you base that on?
I do.
Like, look what just happened. Compass just bought Anywhere.
I think there's a good argument that it could happen. It's like you're taking the highest traffic real estate site. The highest traffic real estate site, right? With this innovative tools and whatever, and
all this new CapEx, and maybe we'll get some more revenue from it, and this big fight with the industry, and the huge distraction.
No, what you're missing is, here's what I'll say.
I hope they do
say
it
that
so
you're
that
AI native.
I can say I'm right.
You say you're AI native.
Right, yes, okay, gotcha. Yeah, right. You're right.
No, now you're right. Bump. I forgot to say AI native.
All right, guys, let me move this forward because I want to make sure we get all these in here. So we talked about Zillow. There's some bunch of strategies there. We'll put Rob's article in there for you guys to read. I think it's worth reading, by the way.
Thanks, Rob.
The By the way, I agree with Rob. Those are 5 paths, to be clear. Rob and I actually are in sync on that. Which one nobody knows, but I think, do we all agree that Zillow's not going to roll over?
Right?
Do
There's
we,
a sixth.
Are
Is
we
there
all
a
in?
sixth?
Yeah.
What's the 6th?
What's their sixth?
I mean, what I'm basically saying is things
No
are
change?
basically going to stay the same.
Yeah. Okay. You're right.
Okay.
Greg is right. That is possible.
Okay. So, but we all agree then, out of the 6 paths, that Zillow is not going to roll over? Like,
Yes.
this lawsuit, and they're going to be like,
Yeah.
no, we're going to take this all the way to wherever this goes.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to.
Okay. All right. I got 3 more then. So I want to start with Rocket. No one's talking about it, so I figured let's at least have the discussion and pontificate for a second. Rocket just bought Redfin. They just bought Mr. Cooper. They're getting their data from the MLS just to set this all up real quick. They're trying to create an end-to-end solution. They've got their referral network to send leads out, as well as now they've got Redfin agents to some degree. We don't know what that's happening there, but who wants to pontificate first? Greg, Rob, who wants to go first, and what you
I'll
think?
let Greg.
I hate to be this guy, right? But I mean, just by adding the mortgage flow into the process of their portal, move the needle at all? No, I don't think so. Right? I think they're going to be the same amount of traffic they got before, maybe some more innovations. There will be more in this end-to-end thing that everybody's trying to go for. I just don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to get a lot of wings there. I mean, I've said this before on the other pod. It's like agents like Tim. Tim's at all the association meeting. He's in the back of the room. He's got a suit on. You got his cell phone number. He's at Wells Fargo or whatever it is, and I can call his ass at 1 a.m. in the morning and go, this goddamn thing better close. You better get your butt over there and do that. I mean, no agent is going to refer to freaking Rocket or anything else. They want to control the transaction. They want to have that relationship with somebody so that they can call in the middle of the night to get things done. So I don't think the industry is going to support this. I think the consumers, after when an agent gets involved, and it's going to be different from, they haven't had a lot of attachment rates with the agents, with Redfin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to, that's going to change. So I just don't think it's going to be that. I mean, it looks good on paper. I understand that everybody's going towards this like one seamless experience type of thing. I just don't think the industry is going to support that.
Yeah, I'll add one other piece of context. Let me add one piece that Greg did.
Yeah.
I agree with everything Greg said, and I'll add one piece that I believe that companies have institutional memory. And the part of the reason that they're pulling this off is because we're in a going on 4-year refinance slump in the mortgage business like no other.
Yeah.
Right? Like no other.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I need a downside hedge because I'm getting my teeth kicked in. Right? But as soon as the refi start to be on and popping again, they just won't be able to help it because it's who they are. They're going to take their eye off this ball, this end-to-end solution for residential real estate. Imagine what we could do with Mr. Cooper and blah, 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 right? All looks great on a spreadsheet. All looks great on a flow chart. All looks great on a whiteboard. But hey, we could go snag $1 billion in refinances if we focus on that for the next 30 days. Guess what they're going to do? Yeah. They're going to set that thing down. We'll get to it. I know it's cute. I know we hired you to work on this, guys. We're going to take care of you in a little bit. But let's go bang these refinances because they're there. And it's just who they are as a company. It's how they got to be successful. It's how they made all the money that they've made. They're not just going to pivot away from that when it's there to be had.
Okay, just to be clear, because I hear you on all of that. I want to bring it back just real quick to what does Rocket think of this acquisition and potential private listings going more mainstream? Do they respond in a way? I'm sorry, I should have added this. Rocket talked about having, or at least Redfin, having a ban that was supposed to go into effect at the end of this month, like Zillow, which has not been in the press, by the way. Everybody hasn't brought that up. Yeah. Do they go in the same boat as Zillow? I want to try and bring it back to this.
They don't. As long as Glenn is there, I think they do. Yeah.
You do? You think the ban will go? They'll put it in place
as long as Glenn's there. Yeah.
And I don't think it really matters. They don't have a ton of listings. That's like
the traffic of Redfin
they have
is
traffic.
the issue.
Redfin does have a lot of traffic.
Yeah,
oh, sure, yeah, but sure, right. They want to maintain the traffic, of course.
Keith's right. I mean, I don't know if this is really on their radar. It's a side gig to them, right? It's
God,
listen thing, right?
Yeah, it's their side hustle. It's like Rocket's driving Uber, right? Their version of driving Uber is getting in the real estate business.
Rob, you want to jump in?
Yeah, no, there will be no Redfin ban. If Glenn's going to resist, then he'll be looking for employment. This is great for Rocket. Right, because Rocket's biggest threat was Zillow, and this weekend Zillow. In fact, I would be shocked if Rocket's not making phone calls to Robert right now, talking about the future after, right? What does our partnership look like? Because Rocket doesn't give Rocket really doesn't give a shit about
No,
like
man. That's the whole thing they touted about the acquisition with Anywhere. They have mortgage services in place that they can leverage and blah blah blah. And now they're going to go, get a Goomba going on. There's no way that's going to happen.
So if you're Rocket, you just want to alienate 1.4 million transactions and $1 trillion in sales volume. Just
Again,
go
it's not
tell
going to
them
be all
piss
those.
off.
You're thinking everything's going exclusive. It's not, man. It's like a small sliver of that, right?
Well, no, hold on. This is where I go with Rob. I think we are in an arms race, to be clear, Greg. I don't think it's just anywhere. You've got Douglas Elliman launch their network. There's no, in my opinion, there's no scenario where KW and others don't launch them as well.
Bingo.
You get into an arms race, you are going to see a significant
Well,
amount
it
of
all
product.
Again,
hinges-
it ends up to be what 17 billboards saying "Come to me first" before it goes to Zillow.
I'm not
It's just
saying
like
it's the right
lame.
path. I'm just saying that if the people respond in kind, I think that
of
will
course they
happen.
will.
I just have a caveat to what you said. I agree it's an arms race if, and this is
Sure.
a big if,
Yeah.
this whole Compass Anywhere thing works out. There are so many ways this thing could go off the rails. Like in my opinion, they're on the razor's edge when it comes to debt, right? They have debt and a ton of debt, and they got to pay for that debt. If they have a bunch of breakage, a bunch of agents leave because they're all pissed off. Will it happen? I don't know. Pay attention to it. Let's see, kids, right? But their ability to repay that debt is highly correlative to how many agents stay with the combined companies. True or
Of
false?
course.
Yeah.
Of
And if a
course.
bunch of agents start bouncing and leaving and they don't have that revenue and they can't perform with the debt, all of this thought exercise that we're doing, then I think everybody's like, well, shit, that didn't work. Let's back away
Well,
from
but-
that model.
And to your point, Keith, why I just want to add this piece, I think everybody responds in kind with private listing networks, which actually, I think Compass
When?
looks at it.
The
Hold
when.
on. I
When.
think Compass looks at it from a perspective of we can use this as a way to recruit.
Sure.
And if all the other companies respond with we're no longer sharing our listings either, Greg, just follow me here for a second. If they respond like KW's 140,000 agents, which is not a small company, says we're going to launch a private listing network, it helps stop some of that bleeding because it's like, well, you're not going to get access to Keller Williams
well,
listings
no, but
anymore either.
you're missing my point. My point is if 15% of
It's a Mexican
of-
standoff,
of
right?
the combined company
Tarantino
walks
style,
away,
they're all-
right? Whatever percentage
I'm
walks
agreeing
away.
with you, Keith.
Yeah,
What I'm
but-
saying is that it's going to be.
It won't be an arms race because if this thing flops right fast, and it may not, probably won't, but if it does, then people just back away from this whole concept.
Mhm.
So let me get this straight, Keith. Your position essentially is that 15% of
I
Compass
made up that
2.0
number, so go ahead.
10%, some significant number
Yes.
of those agents will walk away
Mhm.
because
If they
they're
do.
morally offended.
No. I'm saying if Zillow picks one of your options, and
What do you mean picks one of your options?
you've got your
Oh,
five.
so Zillow
Yeah.
comes back with something
Sure.
really strong.
That happens,
And
and
they're like, yeah.
I think there is some percentage. I
Right.
don't know what
Right.
that leave because they're morally offended. There's some percentage that leave because they just don't like the way it feels to wake up one day and be told someone else, that I
So-
didn't ask for,
or
right?
they're
And-
sharing the same ballroom with an ERA agent. That might be something too. Who
Sure.
knows?
Right. So it's all about it to me, and I'm a dramatic oversimplifier. I think it's a gift and a curse. Yeah. But this all hinges on breakage.
Yeah.
If Compass can stomach the debt long enough to really implement a private listing concept at scale across all those agents, which bunch of risk points there to Greg's point. If they can pull that off, then it's arms race.
By the
Everyone
way, to your point, Keith, if Zillow did go nuclear and went to a point to Keith's point, Rob, I'm backing him here, and Zillow went nuclear to gut 15% of the agents out, like saying you can't get deals by not coming to our company, and took that as an offensive strategy so that they can't service the debt. Like what I'm trying to
Right.
make a point is there's some serious power plays that can be
Yeah.
made here on a Wall Street
and they don't have to
game that's-
leave either, James.
Yeah.
In that scenario, Rob, it could be that either you change the practices of Compass or your brokerage or whatever, or you have to leave in order to get on here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
so I
both
just think
a nuance there.
the success or failure of this dictates, not completely, but it impacts the scale of this air quotes arms race.
Yeah.
But and the other thing I don't
But
think
you don't
we
think they're
talked
going to
about.
start that now, though? Just curious, Keith. I never asked you that question. You don't think
Whom?
companies will start launching private listing networks now, before the deal's even done?
Some already have, right? Some
I
already
meant
have.
big ones.
Under the radar.
the
I don't
big
think they
ones.
do at scale until they can read the tea leaves. No, I don't think.
And remember, one thing I think we haven't talked about is like the consumers. Will the dogs eat it?
Yes.
I mean, they might say at some level, like the consumers I can't go to one place and see all the listings. I have to go to 17.
Consumers love it.
Doing that now
Consumers
already.
love private
That's a
listings.
small sliver, though, James.
It's not small.
No,
like,
it's just not a small sliver. A large portion of those listings at Compass end up in private exclusive. They don't sell that way. It's only 6% they said, but it's like almost half go into private exclusive.
To me, it's a scale question to answer your question, Greg. It's look, if I'm walking down to the farmer's market and I see a house, I want to look it up online. And if I can't find it, it's annoying. And if there's a certain percentage at which the consumer will revolt, right? We're like, you guys need to figure this shit out, because all the buyer side, not the listing side. You guys are talking about the listing side. I'm talking about the buyer side. The buyer needs that, and at some percentage they will revolt. But I think it's bigger than we think, right? Like 30%, 40% of the listings disappear from the MLS, and now I can only see
no way.
Right, but at some number, the buyer side of the aisle revolts. I don't know what that percentage
I see what you're
is.
saying. Okay, if it goes to that point, people
correct.
No, because private listings grew in the hottest buyer's market we'd ever seen.
Not to any significant,
but it wasn't at enough scale where if
nationwide.
it's 1% of the listings, they don't notice.
Dude,
the buyer never noticed.
It was over 30% of transactions in
one market.
MLS.
In one market,
MLS
yes,
listing.
but
in
at
one
scale,
market.
Hold on, and everybody else started freaking out, and that's when they did
and they
CCP.
changed it because everybody freaked out, right?
Right, because they could.
You
if
look
they
at that
wait,
as that's
Greg,
a great example of what I'm saying. Is like people freaked out and it was rescinded, right?
What do you rescind it? No, I'm saying
MLS
NAR
put together
CCP.
rules that you had to put it on publicly on the MLS.
Greg, it's like you don't remember all the conversation in the MLS space back in like 2016. The whole point was if we don't stop this right now, we're all dead. And back then, MLS and NAR had power, so they used their power and stopped it, right, for the time being. My point simply is from a consumer behavior standpoint,
That's the way
they love it. They love private listings.
They don't. You're only, first of all, you're ignoring the buyer side. You can't just say the consumer. The list, sure. They loved it because
buyers loved it, dude.
No, not at scale.
Oh
They
my
didn't.
gosh!
How did buyers
It's like
love it?
How
remember
the hell?
back
I mean,
to
remember
remember
back
back
to
to
implement a strategy
2016.
where it fails 96% of the time. Let's go.
Remember back to 2015, 2014, where agents out of San Francisco and that area were like, I have private listings because buyers want to work with me because I have access to something.
I know, Rob,
Right.
but just to be
Agents
clear,
liked it, but the buyers
agents
didn't.
liked it, not buyers. That's not just to be clear. I know what you're saying, but it makes it sound great because I'm working with an agent who has access to stuff nobody else does. Which, like, we could debate that.
Maybe late funnel buyers, sure, but I'm talking top of funnel, which is where you get the revolt, right? If a buyer can't see 30% of the active available inventory, they will revolt.
I just what do you consider revolt? I guess
don't know.
is the question.
I don't know. They'll make a bunch of noise. They'll get the government involved. I don't know. Who knows?
Because I mean, I've been raising this point for a few months now, right? For a while now. It's like the car market doesn't have you can see every car for sale in one place. I go use 3 different car websites then. Travel is the same
But we were
thing.
never in a place where it did at one point, and now it doesn't. I don't
You
bring
think-
the car analogy all the time.
You think
bro.
buyers are that sophisticated? No, man.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
know.
We
We're
train
talking
them.
about people who are in the market once every 10 years, and you think they're like so into this, like one place to see all the things. Like,
I
come
didn't
on,
even
dude.
think you could be more wrong on another podcast than ours.
I mean, just because you're so wedded to the status quo, like.
All right, guys, two more before we wrap up. So, because I think these are really interesting ones. So, Homes.com, it's been a long time rumor for a while that Compass and Homes.com have been working on something. That's the rumor mill. Everybody knows that. So,
Yeah.
The play that I've always heard was Homes.com wants to become the MLS, the de facto MLS for the big companies. So, just setting that up for people who wasn't aware of the rumor mill. That's been a rumor mill around for a long time. What are your thoughts here? Greg, I want to go to you on this one, actually. So what are your thoughts here with Homes.com? And, you're deep in the MLS space.
Yeah,
It's always been a concern.
The vibe on that is like, I think agents love that tool of it, but it's going nowhere. It's a fart in the wind as far as traffic is concerned, right? I mean, yes, they have some good tools and some.
You're
things that
talking about
agents like.
your listing, your lead sort of concept. and
Yeah, that's
everything,
sure. But as far as like, you might as well put a sign
Far in the wind.
in the middle of nowhere and say, I got a house for sale here. I mean, it's just their traffic is. They spent how many billions of dollars, and their traffic is just not there. It has not been produced, right? But agents like that kind of model. But if they could marry the both, and I guess $2 billion didn't do it, maybe $5 billion does it. I don't know what Andy's ready to spend, but
with them struggling on traffic and not potentially, let's go down the road that there's more and more listings off MLS. What is Homes.com? I feel like, to your point, Greg, I feel like they're kind of in this no man's land right now. They're trying
messy
to
middle.
Messy middle. Like they've like had this thing, but it hasn't really captured as much as they want, and the industry's like and they're just in this like limbo spot. That's just my outside perspective, but. Does anybody disagree? Agree? What do they do with this?
Well,
do they go for an alliance with Robert?
Can I go be Rob Hahn for just a minute? Because it's a good time to be. It's fun to be Rob Hahn every once in a while. Now you want to talk about
you want to be correct.
You want to be okay. Directionally, just not on timeline or anything else.
That was good. That was good.
You want to talk about somebody with deep pockets who could say F it and just go open a franchise and or brokerage model. Now that guy, right? That crew, that one. Right. Yeah. Now, because we're already on the outside looking in. So here I come. I'm kicking doors in. I got to do something different. I'd buy that actually before someone else doing it.
I don't see it.
I don't see it only because I know Andy Florence, and I don't think that excites him to become a real estate brokerage. I think
it goes against everything he's been saying. You're listing your lead and everything. I mean, it just blows everything up.
For sure. Right. It would be a big meteoric shift, but Zillow already has a dominant position. They have. I'm just saying. I think it's more likely that they do it than Zillow.
They don't have the brand.
What do you guys think? Are they in messy middle limbo land still? Like, does this affect them in a way, positively, negatively? What's your take?
Messy middle is a good way of putting it, I think.
That's not a bad way. But like as I said, at the 30,000 foot view, if residential real estate starts to look more like commercial real estate, Andy Florence and that crew know exactly how to run that playbook.
For sure. For sure. Right. That's fair. It's a fair assessment.
Right. And to your point, James, I think shit starts moving way faster than people think.
You always do.
I know, but it's because I think human nature being what it is, like Douglas Elliman's going to do it. Like every large brokerage, regionally large brokerage now has to at least think about, if not implement private listings. Okay. So now let's just assume that the top 25 brokers in the country all do private listings. If I'm Andy, I'm going to those guys and saying, how can we help you?
Sure. No, look, they have been what I'll call Team Compass in this debate. True or false? Right. Yeah. So is this good for them? Yeah, it's good for them. Of
course it's good for them.
The team that they're on just got a shit ton bigger, and that's going to help them out.
That's right. But I don't
do you ever see, like, if let's say this happens, do you ever see Compass putting out a billboard saying, go to homes.com to see our listings?
Yes.
Really? God.
I do. I'll tell you why. I'll throw this out. This will be my conspiracy theory. I think Andy needs to, and homes.com needs to they need to find a path for getting there. And it's not the current path that they're doing. It's not going to be Super Bowl
That's
ads
nothing to do
stuff.
with Andy, James. I mean,
I know,
Robert would have to say yes.
I think that Robert will here's my final piece. It's good music, by the way, Greg.
Rock out.
You've got two companies, which I think we can both agree on. Compass and Anywhere, not in good cash positions. Fair statement?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
If they said screw Zillow, which they're kind of doing already, and if you look at what the agents are putting, go to homes.com, go to homes.com, go to homes.com. By the way, the agents at Compass are all doing that. Just look online. And if there was a way for Andy to cut an exclusive deal with Compass / 20% of all residential real estate now is only on that website, and were to write a big check to Compass to have that, instead of spending $1 billion on stuff every year, and they were to cut a check for $100 million, I'm making up a number here, to go back their way to get them in a better cash position, I think you could absolutely see that happen. And it would be a smart move on his part.
That's a good take, James. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
100%. I'd be amazed if that deal is not already actually occurring. Like, that would strategically is what I would do. So I would be cutting the deal there to go create the new portal, tell people to go there.
Smart. I see that. Yeah.
I mean, they're already, I don't know, maybe they're not engaged. Maybe they gave each other promise rings or whatever, but they're already, to take this analogy further, in bed together. So like, why not?
Consummate
James is, thanks, Greg. Makes total sense to me. Yeah.
So
all right, last one and we'll wrap here. So realtor.com.
Wait, no, before you leave that point.
Rob, you're on mute, dude. Something happened with your mic.
Hello.
You're still on mute. I don't know what happened to you.
Proof this is a live pod, kids.
God damn it.
There you are. You're back.
There you are.
Just in time for that.
So before you leave that cash position thing, I do want to point out one thing that no one has talked about anywhere ever.
You said anywhere.
SoftBank still owns 15% of Compass.
Uh-huh.
If the new Compass is in a dire cash position, but they see
Moz
promise,
comes in.
I could see them being,
Sure.
you know what?
Sure.
Cash infusion.
Yeah,
Just
for
want to point
Yeah,
that
yeah,
out.
That's a
yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
Fair point.
No,
Fair point.
for sure. I
right.
I don't mean they're going to go BK, by the way. I just mean they might be an airline. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah. Well, United's got a lot of my money, but anyways, so realtor.com. Realtor.com. What do we think? Let's wrap here.
Fucked.
No,
Rob.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Expand.
Expand, please.
Yeah.
They're tied to the Realtor brand, dude. And NAR is about to fucking like literally be a zombie.
Okay, you got to go other than just generic, like, why is that the scenario? I don't agree with you, by the way, but I'm just curious.
Well, so I mean, nah, that's probably too harsh. I mean,
You
that was
think?
my initial thing.
But let it out, brother. We're here to help.
Look, fact of the matter is, I don't think News Corp is all that excited about owning Realtor.com. There was a bunch of rumor, right, and it seems to be substantiated that they were potentially for sale, maybe to CoStar, and they said the price is too high, whatever. All right, well, they're gonna have to figure out what their positions on private listings, right? If they say yes to that, then you have a problem, because until NAR changes position and you're Realtor.com using that brand under, and you know what I mean? Like it's that. So their hands are way more tied than Homes or Zillow or anybody else. Right.
They also have a different feed than everybody else with the MLS.
They do have a different feed, but does that even matter? Almost, right?
I don't know about you guys, but there's something in the tea leaves out there. They got some things brewing over there. I mean, they bought the Zenlist thing. There's something brewing over there. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm not saying they're effed or anything. I think there could be some, and I like Damien. I think the guy's a smart guy.
I think he's very
do too.
smart.
And he's one of those Australians too, right? So I don't think they'd put
I don't know what that
in
means.
charge of that thing to that. So I think there's going to be some sort of plan that has not yet been revealed that'll kind of surprise us. Do
you think they
they've got
align
something
more with the
brewing.
MLS? Is that what you're kind of alluding to?
Yeah, I
or-
think so. I think so. I don't think they're going to like go. I mean, they're realtor. National Association of Realtors said this is the rule, right? I mean, I think they're kind of stuck there. Maybe they get some leeway and some marketing or whatever out of their operating agreement. They always are asking for more.
I think both
but-
things can be true. I think that Rob's not 100% right, but they do have, it's harder for them to make moves because of their name, right? So that, and at a time when it's harder to make moves, that's not a good thing. And I agree with Greg. I don't, maybe they were trying to figure out what to do. Maybe there was a moment in time where they were open to anything. But I'm in Greg's camp on this one. I bet they're exploring what their options are, but I don't think it's to get out from underneath the brand. I think it's how can they extend it? Who should they align with? Are they trying to cut a deal with Zillow to be, hey, you got to leave and here's where you should go, right? Maybe something like that. I don't know what they're doing, but I don't think it's sitting on their hands. And it'll be a little harder for them at a time when it sucks for things to be a little harder for you.
Probably the best case outcome for a realtor is essentially for NAR to be controlled by the big brokers. Right, Compass plus Howard Hanna and Douglas Elliman and all these guys who are all going to go private listings and essentially say, we now free up Realtor.com to engage in whatever private listing activity, blah, 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 blah. We change the MLS because to James's point, the MLSs are all going to fold. So that now becomes
I
the norm.
didn't say they were all going to fold. Words in my mouth. I did not say that, to be clear.
Yeah. So, that's the best outcome for Realtor.com.
Drinking the same
right?
thing as everybody else.
It was like, I don't remember saying that.
But here's a problem so let's not leave this. Here's a problem for Realtor.com and Homes and Redfin and everybody, right? All the portals. Because what we're talking about here is timing, right? Because as we all pointed out, 94% of the time, private listings fail, right? Mm-hmm. It goes public.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue is, if those portals are where the stale listings go, that becomes a problem for all portals.
I argue with the term stale listings, right?
Well,
because
let me ask
just because
this.
a bullshit marketing strategy doesn't work and it goes to the MLS doesn't mean they're stale. It was a bullshit marketing strategy.
Does it stay at 90% let's assume for thought debate, and this should probably be our last question. If it does go total war, if it does go everyone's, there's 4 big companies at the end, I don't think 90+% of them fail to sell and end up on the MLS, right?
Truth.
Yeah. So that's where that
the number goes up. It just
the number goes up. Right.
The number 100% goes up.
Yeah.
Let's
the
say it's
question is
80%.
what number?
Right. Let's say it's
Right.
80. Right. I'm just saying
80% of them have to be put on the MLS because they didn't sell internally. Just for clear.
kind of, yeah. 80% of properties end up in public, however you want to define it.
Yeah,
Sure.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, from everything that having 20% for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that is such a major advantage. And from a portal standpoint, it really hurts. Right. It really hurts.
From a lead perspective, like
Correct.
consumers, you think it hurts that much? The customer's not going to go. I'm going to play this out. Isn't going to go to Howard Hanna, Compass, Remax, KW, and the MLS. You think they won't do the MLS too? Just to be clear,
I'm not entirely sure how it's all going to play out.
None of
But
us are,
there are 2 things that come to mind about that. One is, I mean, if AI makes a difference anywhere, that would be one place.
You said it yourself. You go to 3 different car websites, right?
I do, right? But
so then why wouldn't they go to the 3 different major
I think
websites?
they would. And I think what's
Okay.
really, really more likely is because I've been noticing this in my own behavior recently, right? I just go
Not
to Grok.
a good judge of how the rest of consumers
is
work.
true.
Rob, I
Not
love
even
you, but like
close.
your
That is true.
behavior is kind
You're
of
unique.
Yeah, you're
That
a
is
unique
true.
human
But
being.
I'll ask you guys, like, I've stopped going to Google. I just go to Grok.
Sure.
And then I'll click on a link in Grok and it'll take me to the website.
I pretty much use ChatGPT for everything.
But same thing, right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT,
Yeah.
Grok, whatever. So if they're doing that for things like furniture, like, why wouldn't they do that for houses? I think they would. And then the fact that the listings are split among 8 different brokers really doesn't matter as much.
So just to be clear, your point is that at some point consumers are just going to go to an AI search and it's going to find all the properties available on anyone's websites anyway. And you're basically saying MLS isn't as important. Did I summarize that
MLS,
right?
Zillow, Realtor, blah,
You
blah,
mean
blah.
all of them, technically.
All of them.
Everybody.
But especially if the portals and the MLSs only have houses that didn't sell.
That's a whole different
privately.
podcast,
That's
by the way.
a completely different world than we've ever lived in. Right? I'm not saying it's good, by the way. I'm not saying it just is what it is. That's commercial real estate.
All right, guys, we got an hour, and that was a fun conversation.
Yeah.
We
I
should
actually-
be doing like 4 hours, like Joe Rogan
no,
style.
because
man.
we could. This would be go down such a rabbit hole. I'm glad we did it though, because I think it's important for people to pontificate on these things as the debate kind of occurs. I think that I will add this one thing to kind of summarize. None of us actually know.
Yeah.
We are all pontificating here, and that's why you get a lot of different perspectives. I think we can also agree that this is going to take time for all this to shake out. Rob, you probably think it's going to happen quicker, but then, I love you, but you thought Open Door would be like the whole market.
That is true.
Ouch.
And I know he knows. I always throw
Shots
that. I always
fired.
do that.
Shots fired.
But everybody needs to just calm down. I think I'll say what Keith says, and I'll let Keith wrap because he's always got this good kind of line. But people just need to focus on your clients right now.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah. If you're an
go-
agent,
Call
yeah.
3 past clients. I love
Yeah,
this.
if you're an agent
That's
listening
so
to
great
this,
advice.
just call 3 past clients. Every time you get nervous about what the hell's going on, or every time you see a headline, just call past client.
Yeah.
Call that
And,
lead you
and
didn't
the
get back to.
stakes here, I think, is like I like to think in abundance, right? If Brian Barrero's right, the stakes here. I mean, if there are going to be 2 million realtors in 2030, as he predicts, I mean, there's some consequences of this. I mean, there's consequences now of consolidation, but
You
there's,
mean he thinks there's more realtors?
yeah, you didn't read that piece?
No.
I
I
We'll
Yeah.
link
missed
it in the show
something.
notes because it's
Yeah.
it's a
We'll get
great
Brian
take.
on the show.
Well, we
and
got to
have
bring
him defend
Brian
it.
back on then because
Yeah.
that'll be a fun conversation.
All
So.
right.
All right, guys, we appreciate you as always. Just remind everybody, link to Rob's article
We'll link
is
to
in
their
the show
pod.
notes. Make sure you guys go there, subscribe. You can watch Greg post his notes up on his board. And industry
Oh,
relations.
there it is.
There we go. With
Industry
Rob Hahn
relations.
and Greg Robertson.
Yeah.
Go check that
Guys,
out.
always fun chatting.
Always,
Always
yeah.
fun. Thanks,
for
guys.
the time,
Appreciate you
fellas.
guys.
Great.
Thank
All
you.
right, we'll talk soon.